And we're going to help you out here, folks, with a little off the top. And I want to start at the running back position, gentlemen, where you have to cut one running back between the two, starting with Chuba Hubbard, running back for the Carolina Panthers, RB40, currently averaging 9 fantasy points per game. Hasn't crossed double-digit PPR points since week 2. Hasn't seen more than 22% of the snaps in the last 3 weeks. And then also Jacory-Croskey Merritt, running back for the Washington Commanders, RB46, averaging 7.8 points per game. Since his 27-point explosion back in week 5, this guy has not scored over 6 PPR points. Chris Rodriguez Jr. led the Washington Commanders last week with a season-high 45% of snaps in week 12 or in week 11. And Bill, just a season-low 27% of snaps. So, Steven, cut one running back. Bill Croskey Merritt or Chuba Hubbard?
Yeah, you got to cut Bill here. This is turning into a 3-headed running back system now, which is just gross because Jeremy McNichols is very involved all of a sudden for some strange reason. And Chuba Hubbard is, frankly, one injury away from being a workhorse running back in the NFL again. And we know he can handle it. We know he can produce with it. And yeah, I think he's also just a more talented guy, right? Like, I think Bill had his flash in the pan moment. It seems to have faded. His lack of pass catching work is concerning. He just doesn't produce. He got handed the keys to the kingdom. He did nothing with it. So time to go.
Okay. Eric, what about you? Is it time to get rid of Bill? Nah, the science guy.
Yeah. 10 out of 10. No notes, in complete lockstep with Steve. Hopefully you're not in a position where you're having to start either of these guys. So whenever that's the case, you're really just talking about implied value, and Chuba Hubbard's implied value is through the roof should that injury ahead of him happen. If something happens to one of the 2 other runners there for the Commanders, you're now still looking at likely a 2-way split with Bill and whomever else is left standing.
Okay. Let's get to cut all but one wide receiver. Let's go to the wide receiver position where it is Keon Coleman on the cut candidate list. Healthy scratch Sunday after missing a meeting. Wide receiver 53 on the season, 9 fantasy points per game. And then we also have Jerry Jeudy. Oh, Jerry Jeudy, wide receiver 67, 7.3 points per game this season. And if it doesn't get worse, the Browns, in all likelihood, will turn to Shedeur Sanders with Dylan Gabriel suffering a concussion in week 11. Joshua Downs as well, wide receiver 50, averaging 9.3 fantasy points per game, but does have a 1.3 point performance that he's coming off of before the bye. He has fallen behind Michael Pittman Jr., Tyler Warren, and Alec Pierce in the pecking order. We also have Chris Godwin, who is a cut candidate this week. Wide receiver 89 on the season, averaging 5.6 fantasy points per game in his 2-week stint earlier this season. And he has not seen the field since week 5. Did practice limited last week, though. So, Steve, where are you going here? You got to keep one of these wide receivers on the team. The rest of them we're sending out to better places.
I can only keep one. I'm keeping Chris Godwin. I'm gonna hope that he comes back and trust that he's gonna be, the guy that he was, at least somewhat. Like, he'll get there, right, for the fantasy playoffs. If he can come back this week or next week, get a few weeks of ramp-up time, then I'm keeping Godwin, right? Like, because then you're in the fantasy playoffs, you got Chris Godwin, and that's a high-octane offense. The rest of these guys, it's hard to justify keeping any of them over Godwin because Eric's point about implied value withstands here, right? Like, Josh Downs, I don't know what he did to Daniel Jones. Like, I don't know if he, like, what it in his Cheerios, but, like, he's, like, out for him. He doesn't throw to him at all. Jerry Jeudy, unless Jameis Winston's throwing him the ball, he's pretty much useless. And, man, I mean, Keon Coleman would be my number 2 on this list, but, like, I hope he has a wake-up call because I would hate to see this guy fizzle out at the NFL level by, like, just being a jerk,
You really think Keon Coleman would be the one I'm cutting, like for sure? Honestly,
I was told to keep one.
Yeah, but I would definitely cut Keon Coleman. Like, there's no way I would keep him after. And I think what happened to Josh Downs here, Eric, is pretty simple. That, like, Tyler Warren's taking a lot of the check down stuff. Alec Pierce has the deep roll lockdown, and MPJ kind of really, feeling out the middle of the field there with what he's doing. So I just don't think there's a ton of work for Josh Downs, but I'm with Steve that it'd be between Downs and Godwin, I think, but I just rather take the healthy player in a really good offense as well in Josh Downs. So I'll keep Josh Downs. What about you?
I am right there with you. That is exactly the line of thinking that I deploy to get to Josh Downs. Yes, he hasn't reached the arguably overhyped ceiling that we heard out there during draft season. But yeah, you mentioned this 1.3 point game prior to the bye where they just realized that they could feed Jonathan Taylor every single snap and be just fine against Atlanta. But prior to that, you're talking about, 3 out of the prior 4 games had at least 7 targets, including 6 total red zone targets, right? So you still have plenty of double-digit performances out there to feel pretty good about. The offense is arguably as high octane as that of the Buccaneers, but really the point of demarcation is one of those guys is currently healthy, and the other one is a legitimate open question mark as to whether or not he'll be healthy at all this year.
Yeah. All right, well, let's get to cutting one of these, and we're going to switch things up a little bit. We're going to play more of a different game where it's just a streamer or rest of season holds. Let's start with quarterbacks. Gentlemen, just tell me, are they just a streamer, someone we're picking up week to week, putting back on the waiver wire when they don't have a good matchup, or are we holding them? Sam Darnold, quarterback for the Seattle Seahawks, QB 22 on the season, 15.7 fantasy points per game. Did have 2 single-digit performances coming off in the last 2 weeks. Eric, is Sam Darnold a streamer or rest of season hold?
Sammy Darnold is a streamer for me.
Okay. And what about you here, Steven?
He's a streamer.
Okay. What about Jordan Love? QB 17, 16.8 fantasy points per game. Has had 3 QB1 finishes in the past 8 games. So any love for Jordan Love? Is he a rest of season hold for you, Steve?
No, he's a streamer.
Okay. Eric, what about you? Do you like Jordan Love? Obviously, no Tucker Kraft rest of the season, but is starting to get a couple of those pieces back healthy. Christian Watson, Dobbs were out there last week. We are expecting maybe Jaden Reed to return at some point this season as well.
I love Jordan Love, but I do not love him as a fantasy asset. He is a streamer for me. I wish he would uncork it downfield more often, like we saw in that last game. But
do you think they will now that Josh Jacobs is hurt?
In theory, I mean, they seem pretty happy feeding Wilson left and right in that game as well.
Okay.
Right? It seems like Jordan Love is playing scared. He's trying to avoid turnovers, and that is not in his skill set.
Okay. Brock Purdy, rest of season keep or just a streamer? QB 11, averaging 19.2 fantasy points per game in 3 contests this season. He does have some tough matchups coming up and a bye week. Does that make him just a streamer for you, Eric, or are you holding for the good times?
He is right on the cusp, but he's someone that I'm actually holding. He's someone that I'll probably have in like the QB 10 to QB 13 or so range every single week in rankings. He obviously has a multitude of weapons around him, but moreover than anything, he has an absolute turnstile of a defense on the other side of the ball. So I think he's going to be throwing a lot down the stretch run.
Steve, keeping or streaming Brock Purdy rest of the way?
I am streaming. I have a very low threshold for holding quarterbacks all season long. If you are not in the top 8-ish, I am usually like, I will just find the matchups and chase those, because at that point, that's what it is. It's just guys shuffling around based on their matchups. So I don't keep a lot of guys all season.
Let's go to just a streamer or rest of season hold at the tight end position, starting with Colston Loveland, tight end for the Chicago Bears, tight end 27 on the season, 6.6 fantasy points per game, scored nearly 30 a few weeks ago in that breakout performance, has since regressed to 9.5 and 7 PPR points respectively since. Steve, rest of season, are you streaming or holding Colston Loveland?
Streaming. What is it like? It's a huge chunk, like a huge percentage of his fantasy production this season came in that one game. I mean, it's like it's a Kadarius Toney-esque performance, right? Like he suddenly exploded and then immediately crashed back down to earth. So yeah, he's just a streamer for me.
Streamer or rest of season hold for you, Eric, on the rookie?
Streaming him. If only every tight end could play the Bengals every week and have a game-winning touchdown where the two defenders run into each other so he can scamper in for a score. Not exactly sustainable production for Mr. Loveland.
All right, fair enough. Let's go to Cade Otton, tight end for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tight end 22 on the season, 7.5 points per game, double-digit points in 4 of his last 6 games, but isn't really getting the high-value red zone or deep targets to make him someone who has tight end 1 to even top 5 tight end upside week in and week out, Steve, but he's been solid. Is that enough to keep him on your team?
No. Again, much like the quarterback position, I have a low threshold for iffy tight ends. They are that one-off position that Eric and I despise so much. And if I can find someone who will do better than you week to week, you do not have a permanent place on my roster.
Do they have a place on your roster, Eric? That's Cade Otton. Is he staying shop?
He has a place only in those prime matchups. He is firmly in streamer territory for me. You're basically spinning the wheel and hoping that he scores a touchdown if you want him to be productive.
Okay, let's raise the bar a little bit. Theo Johnson, tight end for the New York Giants, tight end 12 on the season currently, 9.2 points per game average right now, double digits in 5 of his last 8 contests, and now gets famous Jameis at quarterback. So, Steve, you going in on the crab legs here?
I am. This is my first rest of season hold because the arrow is firmly pointed up for Theo Johnson. I kind of was in on him in the offseason because I was like, we saw what he could be, then he got hurt and we lost like his rookie year. And there's no one else there to catch the ball. He is the de facto number 1 in New York right now. It seems he's jumped Wan'Dale Robinson for those like deeper targets, quality end zone targets even. And he's explosive. He's an explosive tight end. He can do a lot of stuff with the ball in his hands. I really like Theo Johnson. I would hold him on my team.
I am with Steve here, Eric. Theo Johnson would be the one tight end on this list I'm firmly holding.
Yeah, make it a clean sweep. He is already performing in a requisite fashion to be someone that I'm happy to hold, but his role and his opportunity is super interesting. We know how banged up this receiving core is. They are very much so using Theo Johnson as a receiver. He's number 2 among tight end in slot snaps this year. He's number 8 in red zone target share. So they are very much so looking at him as more of a power slot player in an offense that is desperate for pass catchers.
Okay, and let's go ahead and get to Hunter Henry, tight end 13 on the season, 9.1 points per game. He has become quite a reliable target for Drake May, but he still hasn't hit double-digit points since week 4, kind of showing some of those toxic X tendencies, Steve. So are we streaming or holding on to Hunter Henry?
You never, ever go back to Hunter Henry. I've warned people for 2 seasons now. You don't go back. They haven't changed. They'll never change. They don't change. Men
Except
don't
for with
change.
Travion Henderson.
Yeah, well, that was development. That was growth, right? Like he was young. Hunter Henry is a grown man. This man is who he is. Okay, this man is about to file for AARP. He is not changing. He is who we thought he was, right? Like the Bears. He's just going to hurt you. He's just going to hurt you. Don't go back. Don't go back. He's barely a streamer.
Eric, how do you feel about this one? Hunter Henry, to me, I'm with Steve, but at the same time, I do want to be invested in this Patriots offense that has quite a schedule that is very friendly to pass catchers in general rest of the way. So I'm going to hold Hunter Henry, but I understand if anyone wants to let him go.
Yeah, he is definitively a streamer for me. Not only does he have all the trappings of a catch and fall down tight end and a 3 for 30 archetype, but also I have a personal vendetta against him. Every single time that I play this man, either in fantasy or in a DFS lineup, I will be watching the Patriots game. I'll see him make a phenomenal touchdown catch, and then I'll blink twice, and actually it was Austin Hooper or Jonnu Smith or some other dusty tight end that the Patriots have hidden in Gillette Stadium. So I'm happy to categorize him as a streamer, and I'm probably not making that choice very often, honestly.
Okay, well, that's our cut candidates for the week, folks. So make sure you guys are supporting the channel. Make sure you're subscribing if you're new. Giving this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed this type of content.